This is part one of a series I'm going to do on Camp X, a super secret spy training school set up by the British on the shores of Lake Ontario in Canada during World War II. Because I don't even think a lot of Canadians know about this place, but it's fascinating. So the camp was set up, it was part of the Special Operations Executive, the SOE, and they trained people to parachute behind enemy lines. That's what they were there to do. And so when they got behind enemy lines, they were supposed to do things like recruitment, building a network, gathering information, connecting with locals, but also sabotaging, blowing up railway lines and communications towers and anything that would hamper the enemy. And so this Camp X was one of the places you went to get trained for this kind of thing. It trained British, lots of Americans, some Canadians, but it also trained like foreign nationals sympathetic to the cause that they could parachute into certain countries like Hungary and Yugoslavia. And the training was governed by this 400-page syllabus that covered absolutely everything you could need to know. Lots of obvious stuff like parachuting. If you're going to go parachute in, you need to know how to do that, right? Hand-to-hand combat. You couldn't always assume you'd have a weapon. So they called it silent killing, lots of that kind of hand-to-hand combat. Things like how to read a map, how to memorize the topography of the area you were going to be dropped in, how to live off the land. So you get dropped in the middle of nowhere. There may be safe houses. Maybe they've been compromised. So what are you going to do? You got to know what plants you can eat, what plants are poisonous, what plants you can use as toilet paper. You need to know things like how to deal with interrogations, how to build your cover story, how to maintain your cover story, when and what you can change if you really need to, and also the physical aspects of interrogation. You need to know how to, blow things up, because a lot of sabotage is really just blowing things up so they can't be used anymore. You need to know how to get around in the place that you're going. You need to be able to obviously know the culture, the language, a lot of idioms and idiosyncrasies. You need to be able to recognize like the German or whoever is the enemy there at the time. It's like the Italians or whatever, but like their uniforms and their medals and their insignias. Like you need to be prepared. You need to be dropped in clothing that's made of fabric that is local to that area. Much more an issue in 1940 than it is today, right? So in order to be able to blend. So this syllabus was very, very comprehensive. It covered a lot. And what is fascinating about it is a lot of special ops, intelligence operations, they became their modern instantiations after World War II. A lot of this stuff, it started growing up in World War II. So apparently this Camp X syllabus was a foundational document for all sorts of training for decades. And I'm going to conclude this video with this crazy story. Apparently, a U.S. Special Ops group, when they were sweeping a cave in the Al-Qaeda headquarters region looking for Osama bin Laden, they swept a cave and they found a copy of this Camp X syllabus, parts of which were being used by Al-Qaeda to get around in the United States. Mind-blowing. Anyways, I want to do more on Camp X. Like I said, I don't think enough people know about it, and I just think it's really fascinating. There's a lot of really relevant history there. So if there's anything you want to know, anything you'd like me to try to cover, where I'm getting a lot of my information on this is, where did I put the book? I don't know. It's by this guy, Lynn Philip Hodgson. He's probably Canada's preeminent historian on Camp X. He wrote a series of books, and his source material and his research is impeccable. The books themselves are, I struggle with the structure, so they're a little hard to get through, but if that's the source for anything about Camp X. Anyways, let me know your questions and comments. Other than that, as always, I hope everyone's doing fantastic.